As a BCBA, would you rather work with kids or adults? One thing I will tell you, lean in. Working with adults is the most well-kept secret, and we're going to discuss why during this video. Hi, I'm Dom, the BCBA mom, and welcome back to my channel. Now, I know I've said this in previous videos, but my very first job out of undergrad was working as a direct support professional or a direct care staff working with adults with dual diagnosis. Those were the individuals that I chose to support. Now, this is very uncommon in the field of ABA. Typically, most of the field gravitates towards working with kiddos with autism, either in a clinic setting or an in-home setting. So whenever I tell people that I work with adults, they always want to lean in and understand what does that dynamic look like. Although the science is the same, the approach can look different working from demographic to demographic, individual to individual, right? It should be an individualized plan. But working with adults, top tier. And let me tell you why. During this video, we are going to talk about all of the benefits of working with adults with autism or dual diagnosis. I will outline what your role or job description will look like when servicing an adult. And I'm going to give you some tips on ways to get into this side of the field. Come to the other side. Now, if you have enjoyed anything from any of my the BCBA Mom YouTube videos, I need you to subscribe, like, and share. It means more than you know. So let's get right into it. Let's just start with the flexibility. When working with children or with working with kiddos, typically the session starts when the session is scheduled to start. And that's because so many other people are involved with these sessions. So if you have a 8 o'clock session, you have to be there at 8 o'clock. If the session doesn't end until 12 o'clock, don't think you're leaving out before 12 o'clock. Typically, your schedule is always the same. When working with adults, you have a little bit of autonomy with your schedule, and this is why. Adult clients, they either stay at home during the day, they're out in the community, they may be looking for work, or they go to an adult day program. These are all the settings that you can apply behavior analysis to. These are all the settings that you probably should be applying behavior analysis to. So I can go see my clients pretty much any time of the day. Now, of course, I don't just pop up on them. There is always some communication had. What is the best day and time for me to come? But working with adults, you pretty much make your own schedule. You are allotted a certain amount of hours to see that individual for the month, and you choose when you see that individual, and sometimes you can choose how long you're going to spend with that individual. If they want to see you and talk to you for 15 minutes and then they're like, okay, bye, I want to go watch my TV show, or I want to get on the phone, or I want to do something else, then you're done for the day, because they have the right to assent to the practice that we are serving. Now, I've never really had a problem with that. Typically, when I come to see my adult clients, they don't want me to leave, okay? They enjoy the time that we have together, and we go out for walks, we go out into the community. I've taken my adult clients to college campuses, out to dinner, amusement parks, the mall, carnivals, music festivals, to church, grocery shopping, you name it. We have a good time. And that helps enhance their community independence and their quality of life. So typically they live in group homes that are in the community, and the goal is for them to integrate into the community as much as possible, as much as they have the desire to, and teaching them ways on how to do that appropriately and as independent as possible. Which brings me to my next point, and that's generalization. Typically, we run all of these goals or discrete trial training with our kiddos because we eventually wanted to generalize to the outdoors, right? Away from the table to the real world. When working with adults, that's where we start. We start in their real world. If we come to visit the house and they're in the kitchen, then that's an opportunity to learn how to pack their lunch or make something in the microwave or make something for dinner. If the goal is to learn how to take public transportation, guess where we're going? On the bus, on the train. I work with the individual who knew how to take the train better than I did. Whatever the client values, that is what you are working on. You also get to work with an interdisciplinary team, and I'm talking about some heavy hitters. So you are in the room with primary care physicians, psychiatrists, guardians, sometimes attorneys, state workers, and the individual. So everyone is an expert in their field, but you are the expert in behavior analysis. Over the years, I've gotten the opportunity to work with a lot of different professionals from other disciplines, and I find myself always learning because it's always a collaborative approach, that continuity of care. And I've stayed in contact with the clinicians or guardians that I've worked with in the past because that's how deep our bond got, because we've all had the common goal. So let's talk about sustainability. How many of us can't stand those cancellations, right? You are all set, ready for your session, you have all the materials ready, and then all of a sudden the parent calls and says, we're not able to make it, right? So that happens very often. But when working with adults, cancellations are less likely to happen. Once again, they don't have to come to you, you come to them. If they're not at home and they're out in the community, there are plenty of times where I said, oh, you guys are at McDonald's? Okay, is it okay if I meet you there? Oh, you guys are on your way to the mall? Is it okay if I meet you there? Now, just as long as you are not intruding and you are truly welcomed in those environments, those are all different environments that you can observe behavior, identify interventions that are needed in different environments, and just other ways that you can help support that individual. I also believe that I am a better clinician because I work with the adult population. So in my 14 plus years of work, I have rarely gotten an individual with just an autism diagnosis. I have worked with individuals that were deaf, blind, schizophrenia, bipolar, Tourette syndrome, anxiety, depression. I don't see that as working outside of my scope of competence. Just as long as you acknowledge that they do have that diagnosis or they are on those medications and that does affect behavior in some way, we do not allow that to become circular reasoning. So behavior is behavior. It doesn't matter what diagnosis you have. We are here to intervene on what does that look like? How does that diagnosis present in behavior? Now, there were times where I had to go deep in the research and understand other diagnoses that I was less familiar with. But you can also talk to the psychiatrist that is on your team, talk to the pharmacist that's on your team, talk to all of the other members who have the social history and the parents, and we can still provide effective and efficient behavior analysis to seek positive change. So let's talk about, what does your role look like as a BCBA working with adults with developmental disabilities? So you are in charge of functional behavior assessments, writing the treatment plan, training all of the staff on the treatment plan. Usually working with adults, the staff, they are not RBTs, so they don't have any formalized training in ABA. So it is your job to not only train them on the behavior plan, on the treatment plan, but maybe even train them on some best practices of applied behavior analysis. And it's also our job to hang with our clients. So I call it hang because working with adults is the most you will use naturalistic teaching. So when I come to visit my adult clients, I don't stop them from doing whatever it is that they're doing. If they're in their room watching a show, then I may go stand at the door and comment on the show that they're watching. I'm known as the walking BCBA because many of my clients, as soon as they see me come into the door, they're getting their shoes on, they're getting their coat on, because they know that we are getting out of here. We're going out in the community and we're going for a walk. The reason why I really love walks with my clients, first of all, they're not covered under my insurance, so I can't drive them anywhere. But walking is a good way to just increase exercise. And while we're walking, we are talking, we are building rapport, identifying familiar things in our community. I am letting them lead me. Do you want to go left or you want to go right? Where are we going today? How do we get back home? Do you know your address? So we are working on all of the safety skills that they would need in the community during our session. There was this one house that I used to work with. Whenever I would visit, we would go to 7-Eleven because they all wanted coffee. Now, if you're a coffee drinker like me, there's nothing like having the autonomy to go down the street and go get your own cup of coffee. But for some of our individuals, they didn't have that. So that's something that we worked on. And while we're walking to the 7-Eleven, they are learning directions and how to get to and from their preferred places in their community. They're learning how to pour their own coffee and be safe. They're learning the ratio to sugar and cream. And then they're also learning how to wait in line, pay for their coffee, how to interact with the cashier. So these are all of the skills that we worked on just on a simple walk. I also love playing games with my client. We play Uno, Jenga, Family Feud, Just Dance. There are so many skills that you can teach while playing games, whether that's interpersonal skills or introverbals or man or tacting. If we're playing Uno and they're identifying letters, numbers, and match to sample. And one of their favorite things to do is to go out to eat. It's also my favorite thing to do. So we also get to learn those skills while doing that. How do you place your order?
Y'all need anything else?
Nah, we all right.
Actually, let me get some iced tea.
Sweet or unsweet?
Sweet.
Do you need pictures in order to identify what you want to eat, or can you read the menu? Do you have enough money? Did we budget for this meal? Do you have enough for a tip? So these are just all of the skills you can work on in their natural environment, and these are skills that are fun, but they're low in labor intensity. So one caveat to working with adults, and some people may think of this as a benefit or an issue. Most adults who are under the Medicaid waiver only have a certain amount of behavioral hours per year, which means we are pretty much seeing our clients for 2 hours a week. When you are working with kiddos, you may see your client for 40 hours a week. So when you do the math, you are definitely spending less amount of time with your adult clients, which is why a lot of our job is to train their staff on how to implement behavior analysis when we are not there. Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. You can look at this and say, well, then I'm not going to make enough money if I can't bill 40 hours a week. Well, that's not true, because you can just build a bigger caseload and still make those 30 or 40 billable hours or whatever your goal is. Some people like me look at this as a benefit because I get to be, once again, more flexible with my schedule, and then I get to do other things like have additional streams of income. So I can consult with an agency over here and work with adults, and then I can consult with another agency over here. I can do some public speaking over here. I can do YouTube right there. I can do a lot of other things because I have flexibility, and there is not as many billable hours working with adults than it is working with children. Now, I will say not all states provide the Medicaid waiver through DHS, where they do have programs where you can work with adults. But some states that do have it are here in Illinois, New Jersey, Minnesota, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Utah. So this may mean you are looking to relocate. This may mean you are looking for a career shift, but I think it's worth the change. It's a way to broaden your reach, strengthen your skill set, and provide service to a population that is typically left out. So be that BCBA that shows them that they are valued, their values matter, Their independence matters. Adults deserve culturally responsive clinicians in their corner. They deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. And if you are a BCBA looking for a meaningful outcome and a schedule that fits real life, this lane is wide open. Okay, that's all that I have for you today. Once again, if you got anything out of this video, please do not hesitate to subscribe. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, and then another BCBA or aspiring BCBA who is considering, do I want to work with kids or adults? I'll see you on the next one. Bye.